We hear the word mental health a lot more now, which in a way is good. It's a positive change. I think since COVID, the well-being of our minds, it's our ability to be vulnerable with each other, demonstrated that the people who are calling in are not some strangers struggling with some immense challenges. But I do think that there are still some barriers. I think specifically in marginalized communities or people of color, there's still some stigma. And I think a big part of that is this concept of what will other people think. It's a big responsibility to be the one that someone is going to turn to for support. There is an expectation, there is a standard and a quality of care that we have to uphold. It's a big responsibility that we have and that we owe to anyone that trusts us with their vulnerabilities. My name is Yusra Rizwan, and I am the CEO at Naseeha Mental Health. We hear the word mental health a lot more now, which in a way is good. It's a positive change. I think since COVID, a lot more people have been open to talking about mental health. It can be quite broad in a sense because it encompasses so many different things. So to me personally, mental health is the well-being of our minds. It's our ability to be vulnerable with each other, to open up about what is troubling us and seeking the help that we need. And I really hope that we get to a space where that is commonplace and people are comfortable talking about it. When the opportunity to be a part of Naseeha came to my attention, I was really excited to take it on, as it's something that is such a critical service for our Muslim community. There's a lot more prevalence of mental health related challenges that are facing our communities in the light of Islamophobia, the remnants of a global pandemic, and the epidemic of loneliness in our communities. And these are big challenges. And being a part of Naseeha's work to help tackle these was an opportunity that I was really honored to be a part of. And I'm excited to see the amazing impact that we can have as an organization. When you hear the calls that we receive on the helpline, our team puts together reports on a monthly basis, and just hearing those calls, reading those stories is something that leaves a mark with you. In a recent preparation for an event, I was reading through some of the stories. Our team puts together a report of all the different case studies and stories that we see on our helpline on a monthly basis. And I have the opportunity to go through those and understand what are some of the challenges that our callers are facing. But one particular moment was a little bit more personal. I had received a message from a previous colleague of mine congratulating me on joining Naseeha, and they had shared with me that they had actually used Naseeha services in the past. And to me, that was such a small moment, but such an important one, because it demonstrated that the people who are calling in are not some strangers that are struggling with some immense challenges. They could be someone that's in my network and I don't even know about. But if that service didn't exist, maybe they wouldn't have had an outlet to talk about what was troubling them at that time. And so, one, I was so grateful for them to be so vulnerable and open with me. But two, it really reaffirmed for me the importance of Naseeha's work and instilled that honor in me in being a part of the work and continuing to grow it. So with most organizations, I think this is the case. There's a lot of work and effort that goes on in the background. I think for us at Naseeha, the bulk of our work comes through our programming, whether that's the helpline, our web therapy, our workshops in the community. And I think one of the things that maybe people might not think about often are our frontline staff, the ones that are taking these calls every single day. And they're on the receiving end, and their job is to be there for someone, to offer them comfort and support in a non-judgmental environment. but there is an element of burnout that comes with a job like that. So I think maybe a lot of people don't realize the coping mechanisms that our teams have to employ to make sure that they're present and available for everyone that's calling in. So definitely kudos and shout out to our team that does that on a regular basis. It's a lot of internal work that they have to do to come and show up every day. So that's definitely, I think, a part that goes unnoticed. It's a big responsibility to be the one that someone is going to turn to for support. There is an expectation, there is a standard and a quality of care that we have to uphold, and it's a big amana is the term in Arabic. It's a big responsibility that we have and that we owe to anyone that trusts us with their vulnerabilities. So it's our responsibility that we are offering the highest standard of care and that people, when they interact with Naseeha, they feel comfortable and they can continue to trust us and that we're a reliable source of support for our community. It's a responsibility that we don't take lightly. Although there's been a lot more openness to talk about mental health related challenges in our communities, I think COVID was a big trigger for that because a lot of people for the first time were faced with the mental health challenges and they didn't really have an escape from it. And there was really no option but to talk about it. And I think it's really positive to see that trend towards that openness. We see a lot of well-known celebrities or social media influencers sharing their stories and their struggles. I think that's done a lot of really positive work for our communities to make it more normalized to talk about mental health. But I do think that there are still some barriers. I think specifically in marginalized communities or people of color, there's still some stigma. And I think a big part of that is this term of or this concept of what will other people think. There's an element of shame. I think that still exists. I think when we talk about some of the more serious mental health struggles, such as suicide, that is definitely something that is still very difficult to talk about. There are people, I think, that face a lot of shame, not only if you're going through a tough period, but if you're in a family that has somebody who's struggling with suicide ideation or suicidal attempts. There's a lot of shame in talking about that. So I think that's still a really big barrier that we as a community have to overcome so that we can support our family members, our community members that are struggling with this and help them get through to the other side. It can be really difficult to take that first step. I know it can feel so big to deal with, especially when you think about the intricacies and the consequences of sharing what you might be going through. But I think if there's one thing that you can do for yourself, for your family, it's taking that first step and it's just having that first conversation. You don't have to have all the answers figured out. You don't have to have all the treatment plans figured out right away. But even just having that one conversation with someone that you trust in a safe environment, whether that's a friend, a family member, a therapist, anyone that can offer a listening ear, I think that will make such a big difference in starting someone's healing journey. All it takes is that first conversation for someone to maybe feel confident that they can continue to help themselves heal. And so I hope that people feel confident enough in their support system to trust somebody to have that conversation. So all it takes is that first step. I think that the 24/7 helpline is a really critical service for our community. I think a lot of the times we hope that people find the support that they need in their nuclear family, in their mosque, in their school, in their work. But often when we think about the stigmas and we think about shame around these things, that can be a barrier because you don't want to be vulnerable in front of the people that are closest to you. So you feel like you have this expectation of reliability and strength and leadership in those specific areas. And so I think Naseeha being here and offering a confidential, judgment-free space for anybody to come forth and share what's on their mind and unburden themselves is so, so important because in the absence of that, people might be holding things in that could lead to further negative ramifications for themselves and for the people around them. And so I think that's the most important service that Naseeha is providing, is that opportunity for someone to share what they're feeling in a safe way and hopefully kickstarting their healing. I hope to see Naseeha grow in a way that isn't always crisis response. Obviously, we want more people to know of our services. We want to be able to help more and more people in our community. But I hope that we can grow and move into the proactive space a lot more. I want to see Naseeha develop an identity in supporting our Muslim youth through workshops, through education initiatives to create awareness around these issues, to help remove stigma, and to intervene before it's too late. I hope that Naseeha can be a part in building third spaces for our community, places where Muslims of any age, any background can come to a safe space where they can find community, they can find healing, a space that they can call their own. So I really hope that Naseeha can be a part in building that future for our community. Keeping the 24/7 helpline open is the most critical aspect of our work. It is the focus of our initiatives and our efforts. Keeping it open is so important because it's a lifeline to so many. It can literally save someone's life. And so we want to make sure that that never goes away. So keeping the lifeline open is a way for our community to stay safe and to heal. And so it's the most important objective for our organization, and we hope to continue our efforts and ensure that no call goes unanswered.